Afternoon, everyone. So it's come to my attention that when you're vlogging and getting ready to vlog your trip up the Appalachian Trail, that you're basically obligated to have a gear video of some sort to show all the cool things that you're bringing with. So, welcome to my obligatory gear video. Myself and my sister Aurora and my mom Mama Bear will be hiking the Appalachian Trail starting in very early January. So our gear list is going to look a little different than a lot of other people's. We're bringing a little more, our packs are going to be a little heavier. There's a little more emphasis on cold weather and, you know, staying warm and dry and preparedness for that than there is other stuff. So without further ado, I suppose we should start with, what shoes are you wearing? Solid question. So, all three of us are starting off with a set of the Ultra Lone Peak 3.5s, and we love them, and they're great, and I highly recommend them. I know myself and Mama Bear will be switching out the laces for lock laces, and Aurora might. She's testing it out right now to see if she likes them. But I can say that I definitely like them. My personal recommendation with the lock laces, at least, is that they come in two variations. There's the regular lock laces, and then there's the lock laces for boots. The regular lock laces are a little bit stretchier, they're a little bit easier to use, but to my mind, and I haven't seen it happen, but to my mind they don't seem nearly as durable, and so we're wearing the boot version, which works just as well and is quite robust. Like, I can't break these, at least not without severely trying, so doing that. But we are only starting in the 3.5s. These are what we've been doing most of our practice hikes in and our shakedown hikes and whatnot, but we started to get a couple of pairs of shoes to send ahead of us, so we were going to break them in on some of our shakedown hikes and send them forward to us so that we could have them. And those shoes, because they've only recently come out, happen to be the Ultra Lone Peaks 4.0s, because 4.0 is a bigger number than 3.5, so automatically they're better, right? The toe box seems to be just a bit wider on these if you've tried the 3.5s. The heel seems to be a little bit narrower, and everything overall seems to be much more robust. The tread on these grabs amazingly in dirt and mud and all sorts of stuff. But other than that, if all you can find are the 3.5s, I still highly recommend them. All three of us have some variation on the Superfeet insoles. Mine are orange because that's what fits my feet. Highly recommend insoles. Highly recommend the Superfeet ones. That said, go somewhere that has all of the insoles on hand for you to try, the demo versions of them, with a pair of your shoes, and walk around and try them all, because the ones I have are different from the ones that Aurora's wearing and are different from the ones that Mama Bear is wearing, as we all have slightly different shaped feet, we all carry ourselves differently, we all walk a little differently. So definitely find the ones that fit you. The next big question that everyone's going to want to know, what kind of pack do you have? Well, I have a Z-Packs Arcol 6.5 liter pack. Really like it. It's super light. I got it with a couple extra things on it, like the hip belt pouches on both sides. I got the little extra lumbar pad. I recommend it very highly because the foam that comes in it is extremely thin, and there is a carbon fiber bar right back there, and it runs across the back of your spine, and it kind of hurts if you don't have padding. So that extra lumbar pad makes all the difference for essentially no weight. I've added a couple little things, some pieces of shock cord with toggles on them just to hold stuff like my camera. I've got one of these little handy dandy bottle holders, which I'm holding on with a little Night Eyes S-Beaner, because that's the only way I can really fit it onto the webbing on the shoulder strap, just the way it's set up on this particular pack. And I threw some carabiners in the back just to hold my camp shoes because it's super easy and convenient. But as stated previously, we all have slightly different shaped bodies, and we all carry ourselves differently, and we all have different things. So, I'm the only one carrying the Z-Packs. Aurora is carrying the Deuter, I'm not really certain how to pronounce it, Deuter. I'll put links to everything in the description so you guys can click through and see what all it is, and maybe someone can tell me the right pronunciation on that. But it's the Air Contact Light 65 plus 10. It's 65 liters in the main pack and 10 extra liters in the brain. We're keeping the brain just because, like I said, we're carrying a little bit more gear for cold weather, so it's all puffy stuff, you know, just thermal layers and puffy jackets and stuff like that. So it doesn't add a lot of weight, but it does add a lot of volume, so just leaving the brain on gives her places to stash things. She really likes the pack. She really liked that on the inside here, or the back side I should say, the shoulder harness is super adjustable to go up and down. It was one of the only ones that actually fit her torso length, weirdly enough. She's actually wearing the men's pack. There's a female version of this as well, but just trying it, walking around with it, and carrying it with weight in it, this is the one that fit her back the best and didn't feel like it weighed 1,000 pounds with some gear in it. So that's what she's set up with. And then over here on the hip belt is just a supposed to be a Molly water bottle holder and a phone pouch. Her phone actually has the LifeProof case on it, and so she's going to put her phone right there so that way she can get to it, put headphones on it, and listen to stuff as she walks or not. And this makes it really convenient for her to get to a water bottle. She doesn't want anything dragging down on her shoulders. It's really uncomfortable for her. But that's only 2 out of our 3 packs. So Mama Bear is carrying the Osprey Aura AG65. This one is a female pack, and I actually have the men's version of this. I already own it, and it is an amazing pack. I super love it. The only reason I went to the Z-Packs one is it's a little bit lighter, but it's not quite as comfortable, sadly. The Osprey AG packs are super comfortable. Really love them. If I can turn it around. Really love all the Osprey AG packs because they have this, they call it anti-gravity system, so AG, but basically it's this mesh pad right here, and it's a panel that sticks out from the actual back of the pack and ties into the hip belts as one continuous interwoven suspension system and lets a lot of air get back there. The Z-Pack's arc system, where it pre-bends the pack away from you and has a mesh panel, is very similar, but it's not as comfortable. It's not as good an implementation as the Osprey system. So all of us are carrying some form of sunglasses. The ladies both have theirs in a case clipped to the top of their pack. Mine are going to ride inside one of my hip pockets inside this little crush-proof case, so it'll be watertight in there. We all also have a pocket knife. I'm carrying a Columbia River Knife and Tool Igniter T. I really like these knives. I really like the spring assist, but they're a little bit heavy. It's kind of unnecessary. I just really like having it, and I'm very comfortable with it, so it's what I like to take into the backcountry. Both of the ladies, however, are carrying these little Columbia River Knife and Tools Minimalist, and I can't remember the name of these, so I'll make sure all the names are written down at the bottom here. And like I said, everything will have a link below so you can go to the websites and check it all out. This right here is a super lightweight little knife though. Both ladies have them just with the Kydex sheath attached to the shoulder strap, so they can reach up, grab it, pull it out, and then cut up some lunch food or open a package or whatever. They're super convenient. Like I said, the only reason I don't have one, the only reason I went with the Igniter is just that I'm super comfortable with it already, so that's personal preference. So all 3 of us are bringing our phones. 2 of us, myself and Mama Bear, will have the Gut Hooks app already on our phones. We've already downloaded all the offline maps, and we tested it out when we were doing our shakedown hike at Hammock Falls. The app itself works awesome. I love it. It seems great. However, I am a believer in the worst case scenario, and I like having physical things in my hand especially when I'm navigating. So we are going to bring some of the hard copy maps. We've already got the set. We're just kind of mailing it ahead of us. So whenever we run out of one map, we just stop in the post office and pick up the next section. These are just the North Carolina, Georgia section maps. And of course, with a map, you need a compass. But compasses are heavy, and that's kind of my backup. I don't actually expect to navigate necessarily with the maps, but I should be able to. So I have here on my hip belt a little tiny Sunto compass. It weighs essentially nothing, and it tells me which way all the cardinal directions are. So really, what more do you need? So the next thing I have here is our butt pads, sitting pads, whatever you want to call them. Most people I've seen end up with the Thermarest Z seats, or they end up grabbing the Z pad and the actual sleeping mat and cutting it in half or cutting it to length or whatever. Went and actually looked at what the Z seat weighs, and I've sat on corrugated foam before, and it keeps you dry, keeps your butt clean. You know, you're not going to sit down in the snow or on the wet ground or whatever, and that's great and all. But for less than an ounce more, you can get one of these Thermarest light seats, and it's just a little roll-up pad, and it's supposed to be self-inflating. It's got foam in it that, you know, sucks in air when you open the little thing, and it sort of works. But honestly, with 2 breaths, it's full. And then, for less than an ounce over the Z seat, you end up with an actual padded cushion seat. So, like I said, we're carrying a little bit more weight because cold weather and snow and all that anyway, and honestly, there comes a point where less than an ounce being much more comfortable, I'll take the inflated cushy seat over the corrugated foam. Next thing, on the outside of my pack, Poopin Stuff, because, you know, important things. So, got the handy dandy Deuce of Spades shovel for digging cat holes wherever, because using a stick stinks, and these weigh nothing. What is this? 0.6 ounces. Yeah, these things are awesome. They dig super great, they weigh nothing. Love it. Then, in this handy plastic bag, got some butt wipes, just biodegradable, extra large butt wipes. They're basically baby wipes, but theoretically biodegradable. Gonna be irrelevant because only gonna be using it to pack out anyway. Got some hand sanitizer, and this is actually kind of a stand-in, really. We'll probably end up starting the trail with this, but excuse me. We'll probably end up starting the trail with this, but I expect it to get replaced with something else. This is just camping toilet paper. It's basically a normal toilet paper roll minus the cardboard roll and compressed a little tighter. As we go down the trail, we're just going to get toilet paper from whatever store we're resupplying from, not a big deal, and pull the cardboard tube out and compress it in half, and it's all the same. It's toilet paper. Next thing we've got is medical. All 3 of us are carrying a tourniquet. This is called a CAT tourniquet. It's a combat application tourniquet. All 3 of us know how to use them. This is massive overkill. You don't actually need this for the Appalachian Trail, but I'm a worst case scenario. I'd rather carry the extra ounce and change and have it and not need it and get to the end of the trail and curse the extra weight I carried rather than need it and not have it, and then it's a terrible, terrible day for everyone involved. Like I said, hope to never need any of that. Then we also all have the Ultralight Watertight Medical Kit .3 from Adventure Medical Kits. These things are pretty awesome. They're fairly well stocked. It's basically a bunch of gauze, some band-aids, your basic first aid stuff. The only things that I've added are a couple of pills, you know, Pepto-Bismol, some extra Tylenols over what it came with, some real basic stuff, some antihistamines, and I know the other two, both Mama Bear and Aurora, will be putting some meds that they have to take in there so that they'll have that on hand. And then all of them also have a quick clotting gauze that I've added to them, just in case. Yet again, I believe prepare for the worst and hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and curse the wait at the end. Next thing to talk about is going to be water filtration, because getting sick in the middle of the woods because you drank bad water is a terrible, terrible thing. So we're just going to avoid that all the way around. We are carrying a extra 2-liter water bladder. These are the Canuck Outdoors Vectos. They're really cool. They seem pretty durable so far. They've got this little slidey thing, so it's can open from the back, so it's fairly easy to scoop water up. Tested it out a couple times. So far, so good. I've personally burst about every water bladder I've ever owned. Haven't busted this one yet, but I can only assume it's a matter of time. So hopefully these will make it. This is partially for filtration and partially also in case we need to carry extra water at the end of the day up to wherever we intend to camp, if there's no water source readily available where at the shelter or whatnot. So that's an extra 2 liters of water, and it conveniently connects to the Sawyer Squeeze. This thing is awesome. I love it. It flows really well. It works as a gravity feed. You can put water in the bag and squeeze it through, and it goes really, really quick. All you need is this little, like, couple of cent, less than $1 adapter. I forget exactly what they call it. You get them on Amazon. Yet again, linked below, so you can get it or not. But you can screw that onto the one end, screw the water bottle on the other, or the water bag on the other. Water goes through, and this little adapter connects conveniently to a smart water bottle, or any other brand that has the same threads. Life Water has the same threads, and it's basically identical bottle. There's another company, I forget the name offhand, but they've got a squared off bottle if you want it to be not round for some reason. I can't think of a reason, but to each their own. But importantly, it connects to everything. It's a super easy system to use. We will actually be switching this though, because just recently they came out with a new version that weighs an ounce less. It's much smaller, and it's got all the same ratings as far as flow rate, gallons that it can filter, the pore diameter size of what it'll filter out. Everything's exactly the same, except it's smaller and weighs less. So, getting rid of that. And that's the new setup. The filter itself, keep in a plastic bag, and that's just because if there is any little bit of water left in it and it's about to freeze outside, or if it's supposed to freeze overnight, you don't want to let the filter itself freeze, because it'll crack the little pores open, and then it'll stop filtering. Well, it'll stop filtering things. It'll filter some, but then stuff gets through. So you need to be able to take it, put it in your sleeping bag, put it wherever to keep it warm. But if it's still got water in it, you don't want to get wet. So just a plastic bag, put it in. Super convenient, super easy, weighs nothing. Keeps you from being wet in the middle of the night from your own water filtering system. The only weird note that I have regarding the Sawyer Squeeze and like things, I ran into one weird issue that took me like 10 minutes to figure out, and then I felt really dumb once I did figure out what it was. So I had filled up the water bag, right? So poof, 2 liters of water filled. So this is all heavy and obnoxious, and I've got well, it was actually the old school squeeze attached at the time, but regardless, either one. Had the filter connected to it, and then had screwed the filter onto the bottle, right? So got everything all hooked up. This is filled 2 liters of water, and then I start squeezing and I start squeezing, and water's coming out, and then less and less is coming through, and less is coming through, and then I can't squeeze any more out. Like, I'm gonna burst the bag if I squeeze too much harder. And I couldn't figure out why it was. Like, this was literally on the first test run of the filter, and so I figured it couldn't already be dirty. I tested it in the sink at the house to make sure it worked beforehand. I'd already backflushed it once just with that cleaning just to see how that worked. So I couldn't figure it out, So I took the whole thing apart, put it back together, and then filtered some more, and it did it again. I could squeeze as much through as I wanted, and then it got down to a point where I just couldn't squeeze anymore, but there was still tons of water up here. And then it occurred to me what it is. When you put this on the water bottle, if you're using the same setup I am, back it off about 2 turns total. So it's still on there, but so it's not on tight. So it's got a little bit of wiggle room in there, so air can get past. Because what I was doing, keep in mind, this filter filters water one direction, but is not air permeable. Air cannot go from one side to the other. So as you're squeezing water into this container, it's pressurizing all the air that's trapped until eventually you have to overcome that air pressure that's building up. So if you back this off a few turns, the air can escape and all the water can continue coming down into the bottle. Like I said, really dumb. Took me like 10 minutes to figure out, and felt super dumb when I did that I hadn't figured it out before. But there it is. That's my only warning. If you're having an issue, back this off of the bottle like 2 turns, and then everything shall work just fine. Like I said, super love it, worked great. Next item, because we spent too long here. Alright, so the next item that I keep on the outside of my pack is about 75 feet of Dynamo rope. It weighs something, not much, weighs enough, but really we just have it as backup in case we need to tie something up, need to tie something together, guy line comes loose, we need to replace it, need to do emergency repairs on a pack strap, something weird, tie something down, or on the off chance that I would have to hang a bear bag. Now, why do I say off chance? Because you're supposed to hang bear bags, right? That's normal. Yeah, it's normal. We're not doing normal. We have these handy dandy things. These are called Ursacks. It is basically a Kevlar bag that's been reinforced with more Kevlar, so it's a Kevlar bag. But it is actually rated as a bear canister. And it comes with this fairly heavy duty rope that you tie off to a tree and a tree limb such that a bear cannot take it away from the tree limb. And inside of the pack are many other things that we'll get to in a second. But importantly is this giant plastic bag that goes and fills the entire thing. Now, normally just a giant plastic bag is waterproof. These are Upsacks. They are odor-proof bags. They become less odor-proof as they get holes in them and they get used. We'll replace ours partway up the trail just so that they're still good. But we've tested it on our dogs. They do not notice any smell coming from inside the bag when the bag is sealed. It's really funny to see them walk past treats. And then you open the bag and instantaneously they're like, hey, that smells like treats. Super funny. But either way, we know it works. And so you've got the food inside of the plastic odor-proof bag, so the bears can't smell it, theoretically, depending on how much food you've spilled on the outside, obviously. And then the bag itself, closed, seals up, you tie a knot on the top. There's a special, I want to say it's a 5-hand knot, but I'd have to go back and look exactly, to keep it closed, and then you tie it off to a tree and its limb. Really nice and convenient, means that I don't have to stand there and throw a bear line 17,000 times and see my terrible throws, and everyone laughs at me and it's terrible and bad, and then I'm tired, even more so than I would be after hiking all day. So, we went with the easy route. In that bag, also have these. This is just a titanium spork. All 3 of us are carrying titanium sporks. Some people really like the spoons over a spork. I don't know, it's 50-50. I like to be able to stab chunks of meat when I have it. To each their own. Titanium spork weighs nothing, is good. This is a little insulated bag by Big Sky International. The purpose of this is that after you've boiled up some water, you put water into the bag of whatever food you have. Paba, demo meal. So, you boil the water in a pot, and then you take the boiling water, put it into your bag of food, of boiling bag food, right? And then you let it sit for like 10 minutes. Problem is, at the end of that 10 to 15 minutes, because it always takes longer than it says, it's going to be cold. So you then take it and put it inside of the insulated bag, and you set it down, and then you can set up camp, do whatever, come back to it, and it will still be boiling hot. I mean that literally. I did this and pulled the bag of food out and almost burned the snot out of myself because it was basically still boiling hot. So that. Then come to this. This is the cook kit. All of us have essentially the same thing. We all have slightly different lighters, but they're basically the same. This is just the bag that comes with the pot. We have the Toaks 750 milliliter titanium pot with bail handle. Just in case we end up cooking over a fire or something, we can grab it with a stick and move it around. You can, if you're trying to save weight, get the version without the bail handle. I'm not even sure there's a gram difference in it, but that's there for you or not. Got a handkerchief just to clean out the pot, pick up water, pick up mess, whatever. It basically just a big napkin. Big lighter, canister of fuel, and the stove. These stoves are awesome. They are not the most durable thing. They are the BRS ultralight titanium made in China stoves. It weighs less than an ounce, including its little carry bag that it comes with. And it puts out a good bit of heat. It works pretty well. But like I said, it's not the most durable thing on the planet. If I were solo through hiking, I would get something a little bit heavier duty, a little bit less flimsy. But because all three of us are going, we have 3 stoves. And so even if 2 of ours fail, we still have a third person's that we can continue using, and we'll just replace it as we go down the trail. And then one of the last things that we're carrying on the outsides of the packs, at least, are our camp shoes. These are Crocs Swiftwaters. They weigh not a whole lot. They don't look quite as ugly as regular Crocs because they've got this fabricy bit at the top, which is super comfortable. Really, they're in case we have to ford stream or when we get to camp, just to take our regular shoes off, let our feet air out, be a little more comfortable. So, yeah, Crocs Swiftwaters. So the next thing we have is basically our sleep system / tent combined. So these bags are just some Sea to Summit Sil Nylon compression bags, because water resistant / waterproof bags should be all of your bags, because more layers of waterproof is amazing. Side tangent, I am not actually using a pack liner in my pack. However, both Aurora and Mama Bear are using white compactor bags on the inside of their packs as pack liners because they don't weigh hardly anything, and the white color actually makes it super easy to look down in and see because it reflects all the light, as opposed to the black compactor bags that you get at like Lowe's or Home Depot normally, and make it really hard to find anything in your pack because it's just a dark hole. But back to this, inside each of these is a quilt. We are hammock camping, and so these are under and over quilts. Mine are organized so that I know which one's which really easily. The green is for ground, yellow is the sun, under quilt, over quilt. Makes a lot of sense to me. I believe the other 2 are doing basically the same thing with the color coding because we have different colored bags, makes it really easy, but that's their own organization system, so I'm just showing you mine. All the quilts are Enlightened equipment, 950 fill power down quilts. The under quilt is rated for 0 degrees, and the over quilts are rated at 20 degrees. We've had them down well below freezing already, and they were very comfortable, very warm. They pack down super tight. They weigh almost nothing, and I love them. The Enlightened equipment makes awesome stuff so far. I don't know how it's going to hold up over a Thru-Hike, but everyone that's ever had them seems to think that they hold up pretty well, and honestly they're hanging in a hammock, so they shouldn't be coming in contact with a bunch of dirt or anything too much, and we're not going to be like rolling around on a tent floor with them, so they should be pretty good. But as stated, we are hammock camping, hence the quilts. And all of us have more or less the same hammock setup. These are the hammock straps. They are the Eagle's Nest Outfitters Helios suspension system. It's super light whoopee sling style design. They go up in no time at all. It's got these nice tree saver straps built in already. You just feed the rest of the line through, pull it tight, clip the metal toggle to your clip the metal toggle from the hammock onto the loop on the suspension system, tighten it or adjust it to where you want, and then you're done. It takes almost no time at all. I love it a lot. Saying that I love a lot of things, and honestly, I don't know what to do about that. I'm all out of synonyms. I apologize. But regardless, the hammocks themselves are all Eagle's Nest Outfitter Sub 6 hammocks. They are the newest, latest, greatest super ultralight hammock that Eagle's Nest Outfitters makes. They call it the Sub 6 because it weighs less than 6 ounces. The old version was the Sub 7, so you can see how this works. It weighs less than 6 ounces and it's a hammock, and it holds all of our weight and is comfortable. So not really much more to say on that one. All of us also have, actually I don't know that Aurora is bringing hers, but I know myself and Mama Bear are bringing the Arrows pillows. We picked these up on recommendation of, I can't remember who it was exactly, but a couple of hikers that I had talked to, and they had all recommended the Arrows pillows by Sea to Summit. And when I was looking at them online, I realized they made one they called the Premium Pillow, which is this one. And it is exactly the same as the regular, except that it's got this super plush material on it. And it weighs a ½ ounce more than the regular one. And it is so comfortable. It is amazing. If you are a kind of person who needs a pillow when you go camping, or you need a pillow to sleep, or you need a pillow for anything other than like your normal bed, I mean, you could use this there too, but this thing is amazing. It's got a little one-way valve built in the back, blows up super quick and easy, super adjustable. And just like that, I've got a very plush pillow. I'm probably gonna go to sleep here. Next thing that goes with our hammock is the bug net. These are the Eagle's Nest Outfitters Guardian SL bug nets. Both Mama Bear and Aurora will be carrying them and using them. I will not be. I will just have the guy line from the bug net itself, just the guy line, just to have a ridge line in my hammock. I'm not carrying the actual netting. It bothers me to have the netting up around me, and it bothers ladies to have bugs on them. So you can see where you can see how that worked out. I don't like the netting on me, they don't like the bugs on them. 6 one, half dozen of the other. So they're gonna carry the bug nets, and they work pretty well. It's got an OCM mesh on it. It doesn't weigh a whole lot for a bug net, and it ties into the rest of the hammock system, saying as it's all the same, brand stuff. So showing you the hammock, showing you what keeps us warm in the hammock, but now I gotta show you what keeps us dry. So we need that, and of course this. So this is our rain fly. It's the Eagle's Nest Outfitters ProFly Sil Nylon version. It's a little bit lighter than the non-Sil Nylon, And so that's why we went with that. And we know it fits the hammock, seems to be good. And it's a lot less expensive than some Cuban fiber ones, which is what I would like, but they're triple the price. So, you know, budgetary concerns. For stakes to hold down the rainfly across or over the hammock, we have some of the MSR carbon core stakes. They weigh almost literally nothing. They are ridiculously light. They are lighter than titanium shepherd's hooks, and they're a little bit thicker, so they hold a little bit better in looser soil. They're not perfect, but they'll do well enough for our purposes going up the eastern seaboard. So, going from the rainfly takes us handily to wet weather gear. Both Aurora and Mama Bear have slightly different brands. This is my rain jacket and rain pants, both of which are Outdoor Research. I have the Helium 2 jacket and the Helium rain pants. They're super lightweight, they pack into their own pocket, as you can see. And we have gloves. All three of us have the Versaliner gloves from Outdoor Research. They're pretty comfortable. They've got the little rubber grippy dots on them so we can grab stuff with them. They're pretty comfortable. They're not the most comfortable or the warmest gloves ever, but they're pretty nice. And they come with a cool party trick. Inside this little zipper pouch on the side is this other glove, which is basically just a rain glove. And it fits over the Versaliner gloves. It also fits over basically any other glove you want. I have not been able to find these sold separately from the Versaliner set. They're very convenient. They've got a big elasticy stretchy cuff so you can put them over other gloves, like I said. They're completely waterproof, windproof. So if I just need a waterproof glove just to keep the rain off my hand while I'm walking because it bothers me, or you know, if we need a wind layer, you know, anything, we have them. And those shells weigh practically nothing. For a puffy jacket, both myself and Aurora have the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisper down jackets. Mine has no hood, Aurora's has a hood. That's the only real difference between them, because her head gets a little bit colder than mine, so she wanted a hood. And Mama Bear has the Patagonia Nano Puff jacket with the hood. She also likes the hood to keep her head warm. To each their own. So far, this is, at least the Ghost Whisperer has been an excellent jacket in the little bit of cold that we've walked in. It's super comfortable, wear it around camp. Packs into its own pocket. Don't really know what else to say other than good jacket if you're looking for a good synthetic one. Next item. So this next item is actually an idea that we got from watching some of Dixie's videos. I'll link her channel down in the description so you guys go look at her stuff. She's done the Triple Crowner now, so she's done the AT, the PCT, and the CDT, and does a lot of other hiking. She's pretty awesome and has a lot of good insight on a lot of it. But one of the things she had mentioned and we decided to test out is waterproof socks. So these are basically a neoprene with a water repellent coating / stitching on it. Waterproof socks. The intent being, as I said earlier, we are going to be starting super early in January, so there's a high chance of there being a lot of walking through snow. And while our trail runners will dry very quickly, and our socks are all basically merino wool socks, so they'll still stay warm and they'll dry out fairly quickly as we walk. Walking while they're soaking wet kind of stinks, and then walking around camp in the snow kind of sucks. So, waterproof socks. Keeps feet dry. We'll try them out. If they don't work out, or we don't like them, or we don't need them, then we'll just send them back to the house. Give it a shot. I have a knee brace because one of my knees I had a torn meniscus, and now my knee hurts when I walk too much, so knee brace. Need a knee brace? Bring a knee brace. Pretty much all there is on that one. Next, this bag. Yet again, try to get this right side up for you. Bam! Look, I'm fancy now. Sea to Summit, still nylon compression bag, just like the other ones, except this one, instead of having quilt, is clothes. Blue is color-coded clothes. Why? I have no idea. It's just the other color that I had, so that's what we're gonna go with. But going to be wearing bunches of random things, so we'll shoot through it real quick. Please note that I will tell you the brands that I have. Aurora and Mama Bear's branding on the clothes is slightly different. I'll point out the only places it's important when it comes up. The pants I'll be walking in most of the time are actually some Mountain Hardwear pants that I have. They're just convertible zip-offs. Mountain Hardwear, I like them. I like the color. They're comfortable. Not much more to say about that. Honestly, any decent, quick dry convertible pants are what I'd personally recommend, having done all of the hiking that I have. Let's see here. Quick aside, these are Dirty Girl Gaiters. Mama Bear and Aurora will both be wearing them. I believe this is actually Aurora's pair. I have to look. I've got the other ones over there. Either way, both of them are going to be wearing Dirty Girl Gaiters. I will not be, as Gaiters annoy the snot out of me while I walk. Personal preference. But both of them have said that they absolutely love these. They've kept all the sticks and leaves and whatnot out of their shoes, and they like it. And it's also another layer to prevent bugs from getting in, and just another layer of good for them. So they're gonna wear them. I'm not, because I don't like gaiters, but you know, mileage may vary. All three of us have glove liners because we're going to be going when it's super cold. We'll probably end up sending these home partway through the trip. These are just 100% wool glove liners. They fit underneath the gloves we have and just provide another layer of warmth. They work really well. A pair of Injinji sock liners. I'm gonna have two pairs, one that I'm wearing when I walk, and then another pair, so I always have a dry pair in case something happens. Let's see what all's in here. Normally you don't pull everything out like that all at once, but you know. Let's see here. My normal walking socks are gonna be a pair of Smart Wool light trail socks. Both of the ladies are going to be wearing mostly Darn Tough socks with thicker cushioning. Yet again, personal preference. These are my sleep socks. They're just another set of Smart Wools, but they're the heavy duty thick ones, just to be warm and more comfortable. And I believe both Aurora and Mama Bear have a set of Smart Wool socks for sleeping in. I have, as a long sleeve base layer, a Mountain Hardwear long sleeve. Really like it. It's pretty comfortable. This is just something to wear while I'm hiking when it's cold out. Keep my arms a little warmer. Keep the sun off me. You know. Let's see what else I got in here. We'll get to that in a second. More stuff in the bag. My hiking shirt is going to be, I have two Under Armour shirts. This one's inside out, but either way, Under Armour shirt, and the other one that I'll be hiking in is this one right here. It's just a quick dry shirt. Honestly, you can get the quick dry shirts out of like the Walmart brand or whatever. It's all more or less the same. I just happen to like these ones, the way these ones fit, and I already have them, and I really like the pattern of this one, so that's what I got. For underwear, got a bunch of ex officios. Got a spare pair of pants in here, which may or may not end up getting sent home. I'm not 100% on that yet. I'm gonna bring them, and we'll see after that. But it's a pair of Mountain Hardwear shorts. It's basically the top half of the cutoff pants that I'm walking in, just without the zippers. They're basically identical. Both Aurora and Mama Bear have skirts that they're going to bring with as their lightweight secondary hiking clothes, and then they also have the convertible pants for normal daily use. Also have a neck gaiter. This one is just a smart wool neck gaiter. It's nice, it's comfortable, keeps my neck warm. And then these are probably my favorite find on Amazon for warm weather gear. The brand is called Turtle Fur. They make both a neck gaiter and beanies, and it is super warm. Extremely comfortable. Highly recommend it. Both Aurora and Mama Bear have the neck gaiters as well, and also the caps in different colors. And on that note, these are our sleep clothes. We all have a pair of them. It's a top and bottom. I have traditionally always called them waffles. I've heard them referred to as long johns. These are actually Rothco base layers for the military extreme cold weather system. They're extremely warm, they're extremely durable, they're 100% synthetic, they dry very quickly, they don't stop any wind, which is fine because we have the rain shells that we can put over them to stop wind if we have to, but the not stopping wind is good because it means it's breathable. You're not going to build up a bunch of sweat while you're wearing them, especially since we're only going to be wearing them in camp essentially, just to sleep and relax in. Like I said, I'll link down below. You can get these. Recommend you try them. The downside is that they're pretty heavy. They're fairly bulky. They don't pack very well. Like they're probably half the bulk of my clothes bag when it's fully compressed. I mean, you can see you can only scrunch these up so much. So there's that, but you know, they're warm, so I'll take them. Okay, and then down to our last few things. For headlamps, all three of us have the Petzl Active Core headlamps. It's rechargeable over micro USB. It's extremely bright. They're a little on the heavy side. You really don't need something like this unless you intend to night hike. But we decided to go with the heavier, heavy duty, much brighter headlamps over the smaller, lighter weight ones with less battery, just in case we do end up needing to hike in it. And like I said, we're going to be going in the winter. If it gets suddenly dark on us in the mountains, we'd like to be able to make camp in some sort of light. Towards that end, Petzl makes this really cool little hanger dealie that you can put the lamp in and then zip up. And then this little hook comes off and goes back over here. And then you have a lantern that you can hang from a tree, or in our case, we're going to be hanging them off of the ridge lines of the hammocks. All three of us have used these pretty extensively for just general convenience. Wake up in the middle of the night, you can reach up, click it on, you have your light, and then you can find your way, unzip it, and have your headlamp to hand pretty easily. Means you're never going to lose it. And it keeps the headlamp itself from getting banged around, jostled too much, because it basically is a little protector case. We might end up sending these back, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure this is going to fall into that category of weight well spent. But we shall see what we shall see. And that brings us around to electronics. So, for most people hiking the AT, honestly, I'd recommend this thing. It is the Anker PowerCore Fusion 5000. It is a 5000 milliamp hour battery. It also has these little flip out prongs, which obviously go into the wall. You've got some USBs in the front, and it doubles as your charger. It's got 5000 milliamp hours worth of capacity. It charges itself and whatever you plug into it at the same time. So if you have the USB plug for your phone, you're good to go. Honestly, for most people, this is more than plenty. If all you're going to do is use your phone for gut hooks, or occasionally checking your email or something like that, if you're going to have your phone basically either off or in airplane mode most of the time, then all you need is this. Prevents you from carrying a separate charger and battery pack. It's all in one little convenient unit. Super easy to use. Love it. However, like I said, this is for most people. This one is actually Aurora's. Both Aurora and Mama Bear will be carrying one of these for their phone and personal use. So, as I fairly heavily implied, I am not your average person when it comes to doing a thru-hike, at least electronics-wise. As evidenced by the fact that I'm clearly recording this and putting it up on YouTube, which means I have A, a camera, and B, the need to edit the videos and upload them. So, towards that end, this little 5,000 milliamp hour thing, while awesome, will not do it for me. So I have in this giant plastic bag, which is another one of those odor-proof bags, not because I need bears to not be able to smell the electronics, but because it's just a heavy-duty plastic bag when you come right down to it, and waterproof is good for my electronics. I have many things. Where to start? Well, obviously I have the camera that I'm recording this on, which records to SD cards. It is a GoPro. I'll put some video here to show you exactly what it is. I'm now recording on my phone so that I can show you my camera. Apologies for the bad audio and the weird angle, but that's the best I can do. To prevent that weird angle, you'll notice my camera comes with a little tripod slash selfie stick adapter dealie that is a first-party GoPro accessory that I have attached to the GoPro Hero 4 Black. It's a good little camera. It's basically indestructible. With the case, it's waterproof. But with the waterproof case on, it has terrible audio. I've noticed that most cameras have terrible audio, and it drives me nuts, especially when I get to see beautiful views of other hikers vlogging, and they're showing you the beautiful vistas and talking about how the peak of the mountain is so awesome, and all you hear in the background is that terrible wind noise. So to that end, I've attached the Sennheiser MKE2 Elements waterproof microphone, which comes with this fairly robust windsock on it, or dead cat if you will. And the Sennheiser microphone also comes with a different back to hook onto the case, such that you can actually connect the microphone to the GoPro's USB port to get the audio in. Now, it comes with a little foam spacer that you can put in there, but it's also conveniently sized to put on the external battery pack that GoPro makes. And so I've added that on there just for the extra battery life. That'll get me through about a day and a half worth of recording. Just on that extra battery alone. I intend to charge it basically every night, so it shouldn't become an issue, and I'll have plenty of extra in case something comes up. Have good quality audio, and overall it was less expensive than most of the fairly nice vlogging cameras that I would have looked into, and the audio is, in my opinion, much better. Although the camera sensor on this isn't quite as nice. So, pros, cons, give and take. So that little GoPro records to SD card. So I have this cool thing. It's called a dime card. And all it does is hold extra SD cards, holds 8 of them. Really, it's just a place for me to offload video to when I'm done recording that isn't a giant USB hard drive, which is A, big and heavy, and B, fairly fragile when you come right down to it. SD cards are pretty indestructible, most things considered. I also have a little GoPro USB to SD card adapter so that I can offload the video onto my editing machine. My editing machine, of course, being this tablet, which is a Galaxy Tab S4. I've got a case on it just to help protect it a little bit. It's got a screen protector, try to keep it from getting too scratched up, too dirty. So that's the hope. Hopefully that survives, we'll find out. But it's got a big 7,000 milliamp hour battery, fairly fast processor with a lot of RAM on it. And it's got a ton of internal storage, plus I put another SD card in there so I have enough room to offload video onto it, edit it, and then upload it as I get network connection. So using those plus charging a headlamp that we went over earlier and all of that, charging my phone, keeping that topped up, that requires a bunch of effort. Did out the math, then I went and did some testing. Turns out I need about 20 to 21,000 milliamp hours worth of capacity a week. I don't expect to need quite that much, quite that often. We'll be in town a little more often than a week, but 7 days I need about 21,000 milliamp hours. This little thing's only got 5,000, so clearly that's it. So I wound up with 2 of these 13,000 milliamp hour Anker batteries. Anker makes a bigger one. It's 26,000 milliamp hour. It's great. I have it. It's super heavy duty. I love it. I used it for a couple of years actually. But I wound up switching to these 2 separate batteries because I can charge them both at the same time and basically cut my charging time in half, which means that it's less time sitting in front of an outlet somewhere and basically not either hiking, relaxing, eating, whatever it is that I intend to be doing. To charge those and my tablet and my phone and the camera all simultaneously, I went yet again to Anker and I got this handy dandy power box, which has 4 USBs and a USB Type-C, so I can charge all of my things all at the same time. Everything charges, everything gets fully upped as fast as possible, and it doesn't have little prongs off the back. It actually has a little cable. It's about 3 feet long. I kind of wish it was a little shorter, but it is what it is. The upside though is that it doesn't take up a bunch of space like a big block would. It just takes up the plug itself, and it gets me a little bit of distance, so I can plug it in over there and then set my stuff here and charge over here and not be right up on the plug where everyone's trying to plug in their stuff. Or basically it keeps me out of the way. It gives me a little more room to spread, if that makes sense. Going with that, I have this pile of charger cables. It's basically 1 cable per device. Everything is exactly the right cable to go from the charge brick to whatever the thing is that I'm charging. I have 1 each for everything, so everything can plug in simultaneously. I have no extra cables. Everything is the shortest cable I could get realistically. Nothing is shorter than 1 foot. You can get like 6-inch cables, but then you've got everything like in a pile right here. So I've got basically 1 foot cables for everything, so I can kind of spread it all out. I've got a little bit longer one for my phone and for the tablet, so that I can have everything on the charger and I can hold my phone and either scroll through it, or I can be on the tablet editing videos without pulling on this and picking up batteries all at the same time. I don't have to be right up on it. I can spread out a little bit, like I said. Bring in a set of headphones, 1 to not bother people, and 2 because I like to listen to audiobooks and music and just random stuff. These are the headphones that came with my phone. My phone being this one right here. It's a AGM X2. It's a Chinese brand phone. It's already ruggedized. It's got a 6,000 milliamp hour battery with fairly modern specs. It's basically flagship specs for a phone from a year and a half, 2 years ago. So it's pretty good, but more importantly, I can put it in a low power mode and run just gut hooks with it, and it'll last almost an entire week by itself with basically no charging needed, which is why I have it. Like I said, these are the headphones that came with it. They're theoretically ruggedized headphones. I don't know that they're any better than anything else. I was just going to use some iPhone headphones originally before I got this phone, and it came with these because I like that they sound pretty good and they're pretty durable. I think I've only ever replaced a pair once. Mileage may vary. Honestly, any set of headphones that sounds good, that's not overly complicated, fairly cheap, I'd get them. Worst case scenario, you break them, you stop in at the next resupply point at the local gas station and buy the $5 pair of headphones to replace them, and then you just keep rolling. Not a big deal. Big question that I know a bunch of people are going to have: do you have a spot device? Do you have an SOS? I see people with it all the time. I've personally never used one, never thought I needed one. Thought it was really cool. If I were solo hiking, I would bring a spot device with the SOS function on it, just to keep friends and family happier, make sure that I'm safe, and you know, worst case scenario happens. I mean, I'm bringing a tourniquet that's totally unnecessary. Worst case scenario happens, someone can come for me. However, I'm not solo hiking. There's going to be 3 of us, so not really seeing where I'm going to need the cavalry to come in. If any one of us falls, goes down, has an issue, one of the other 2 can either walk to go find help and bring it back, or the 2 can help carry that 3rd person down to wherever. But we do have some family and friends that'll be tracking us via satellite. So I do have this little spot tracker. It's actually designed, it's called the Spot Trace. It's actually designed for putting onto your like boat or your trailer. So if someone steals it, you can track down where it is, and you can set up like geofencing where if it moves beyond, you know, your driveway, it'll send you a message and tell you where it's at. It's pretty cool actually. But it'll last over a week on its own battery, and then I can recharge it. It's got micro USB to charge, and it weighs like 2 ounces, and I can stick it on top of my pack, and then our family members can track us basically wherever. So we're bringing that too. To the last things. The very last bag in my pack is one that you will either care about a lot or not at all. And you know who you are. This is my ditty bag, my catch-all bag, my random junk bag, whatever you want to call it. So in here I have things like, I've got a little super lightweight brush. That might end up getting replaced with one of those little cheap plastic combs at some point, to be determined. Got a couple of extra gallon Ziploc freezer bags, because having extra waterproof bags is never bad. Got some KT tape, which is basically athletic tape, so if we need athletic tape, or it's a good stand-in for moleskin. It's a little bit lighter weight, more compact. It's not as squishy, but it does a good job for preventing hot spots turning into blisters. Also, it's tape, so if you need to fix a hole on something, if you need to fix a hole on something and make it waterproof, this is several feet. I want to say it's about 2 yards of seam tape. Specifically, it's the seam tape that Z-Packs uses on their packs, but we can use it to repair little holes in our rain flies or our rain jackets, rain pants, any of the rain things that'll repair. Got a signal mirror because, one, I need a mirror so that I can make sure I brush my hair in a coherent fashion when I do use the brush. And 2, it's just a good fallback. The Boy Scout in me won't go out into the woods without a signal mirror because emergencies could happen and you never know. That one's a little indestructible polycarbonate one, works pretty well. Threw it in there. Got an extra smart water bottle cap in case we break the ones we have, lose them, whatever. Weighs nothing, it's extra. This is actually pretty cool. This is my wallet. It's just a little minimalist wallet. Just got, you know, my driver's license, an extra ID card, debit card, a little bit of cash rolled up in there. But it's actually made out of sailcloth. It's by a company called Flowfold, and it weighs essentially nothing. It is ridiculously lightweight. So, like that. That's antihistamines, because you never know when you're going to want Zyrtec. Got mini tube of toothpaste. Got mini travel toothbrush. I like this style because I can actually turn it into a full-size toothbrush, which is just easier for me to handle. I know a lot of super ultra light guys, they'll like hack it off and you'll shave down the bristles. I'm not all about that life. Lightweight is good, but there comes a point. So at least with that, it's super usable. Got a Sharpie in case you need to mark on something, label a bag, you know, what have you. But I got the double-ended Sharpie because on the back side has an ultra fine tip in case we need to write in a trail register or sign something and there's no pens handy, that can fill in. Got three, was it 3 or 4? Yeah, 3 of this cool little thing. It's a product called Quick Fire. Let me see, where's the box? There it is. Come in a big box, so you get a bunch of them. Quick Fire, lights any fire fast. 50 fire starter pouches, and it was a couple dollars. It's basically paraffin wax in a plastic bag with some extra stuff added to it. Really good fire starter. I actually really like these. They weigh nothing. I'm bringing 3 of them. I'm going to throw a couple in each of our resupply boxes. I doubt we're going to use them. They'll probably end up in hiker boxes for the most part. But if we do stop at a shelter and it's cold and there's firewood handy on the ground, I might build a fire. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get that far. Inside this Ziploc bag is what I'm calling kind of loosely my shower kit. It's basically a thing of Dr. Bronner's Castile soap. I know that's more than I need in one go, but it comes in a 2-ounce bottle, and I figure it'll only get lighter as I use it. This is a microfiber towel, a little pack towel. It packs into its own little thing. It actually turns out pretty big. Let's see here. Show you real quick. Actually fairly large, all things considered. That's blatantly unnecessary for most things, especially for the AT. Honestly, you could cut this in half and then half again and just take a quarter of it, and that would be fine. They actually make one that size too, I believe. That's just a little tiny microfiber. Be good for like cleaning out your pot and whatnot. But we have these in case we end up completely soaked from rain, or we decide to go swim in the lake, or we stop somewhere, we shower at the YMCA in town, you know, whatever. The point is, we have basically a full towel and it doesn't weigh very much, and it's just good to have that extra. And then the very last thing at all, this is actually very old. This is from 2007, but they still make these, and I think they're amazing, and I love it. It is super, super great for when you need to get into town and you're hitchhiking. You can say hiker to town as you're standing on the side of the road, and then when you're going back, hiker to trail. So that's essentially everything that's in my pack. If you have questions, put them below. I'll try to answer what I can. Please keep in mind we're stepping off very early January. As a matter of fact, just in the very beginning of the second week of January, to be specific. And so once we're on the trail, my connectivity network, I may or may not be able to answer anything. Also, massive disclaimer, biggest disclaimer possible, this is the pre-hike list. Everything you see is subject to change, all the way up to and including when we get to Katahdin. So expect a post-hike video where I can tell you what worked, what didn't, what we changed, what we kept. So thank you all for watching. Have any questions, put them below. Any advice, any concerns, whatever you got. We have a comment section. Feel free to use it, fill it up. It won't run out of space, I promise. And you all have a wonderful night, and I hope to see you on the trail.